Hello. Oh man. Hello. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? No. Hello. All right. There we go. I think. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Let's see here. Where is my okay? I can hear my mic. I just got no audio coming out of you.
I can hear you, Mark.
I know I see
Can
that
you
you're
hear me?
talking, but I can't hear you. Let me
Oh, yeah.
let's try this. Well, okay,
Can
you
you
can
hear
hear
me?
me. I can't hear you. Okay, I'll exit and come back, I guess. I don't know. Let me try
Oh,
that. Okay. All right. Henry, are you here? You coming up on stage to speak? Arlie, nice to see you. You coming out this week or next week on Thursday?
Nope.
Hey,
There we go. Okay.
yeah. You know what? I had my computer on mute. What a rookie. What a rookie. I'm getting old, man. I'm getting old, I guess. Jesus Christ. Um,
Oh, that's funny.
that's funny. Is
Okay. So who we have on? We have Arlie. Okay. We have Manny on. Okay.
yeah,
Brett.
he's back.
Brett. Brief.
Breathe. Yeah, it's breathe. Manolo's
Breathe.
back
Okay.
from Ohio. Ohio. Guess of Bizik who? What? Oh, guess who's back? I see. I see. He did a typo. He did a typo. All right. Okay, so let's. I guess what I want to do is just talk about the plans that we got from uh, Hersma. I don't even know how to pronounce her name. Hema.
yeah, it's him.
Hema, right? Okay. Okay, Hema. So we got your drawings. So we'll go over what we. I'm gonna share my screen and we can go over the drawings that we got that we initially looked at, and then we'll
Mm-hmm.
open up the one. Actually, we can just draw on it live on
Okay.
how we're thinking, and we had some questions on it too. So it's actually kind of good that
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna go through this exercise. Okay. Oh, it's all my stuff is on here. Okay, there we go. This is clean version. Okay, you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so question we had was the windows. Are all these windows existing already?
Yeah.
Or okay, so including this one, right?
The egress that they mention in the first bedroom, the 9 by 5 by 8 by 6,
Yeah.
that one should be 3 foot. I think, except that, I think they're all there.
Okay, so you don't have one down here in this bedroom here.
Oh, we do have window, but the size is not according to the egress. So,
Oh, I see.
yeah,
I see. I see. Okay.
yes. But since in the bedroom, the middle bedroom, I see there's little crack under the window. So
Mm-hmm.
we thought if egress is here, they're gonna anyhow fix that, and it would be less cost. So I I was thinking like, what if we have in the middle anyhow the
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, we're gonna touch on all of that for you. So okay. So for those of you who don't know, just quick recap. Um, Hima's starting a basement renovation. She's doing a duplex conversion, and this is her project. We're just kind of giving her a hand and lending some of our thoughts and experiences, and we're gonna try to help her through this process. Well, I mean, not try to help her. We're gonna help her through this process. So this is the architectural drawing she got, like the design from another architect, and we're just gonna kind of give our feedback and suggestions. So I guess Henry, if you want to touch on maybe like some of the like the egress windows and any like considerations from a technical perspective, like I know we talked about ceiling heights and some of these things. So if you want to maybe touch on these items.
Sure. Yeah. Let me get right into that. Yeah. So every bedroom in the basement is going to require an egress window. Now we've had different examples in the past. We've done like sliding windows where, as long as the opening is about 15 inches wide, it counts as an egress window. Or we've had situations in the before where we replaced the entire window. It was too small to be a complete awning window. And if you search up awning window, they're one of those windows where you kind of like open up the full panel into the unit, so you can use the full range of the opening of the window to get to the exterior, right? So you have different options. As long as like it's one or the other, it has to be a specific minimum size. Which these windows, based on the numbers, it's hard to determine the glazing area, but they don't seem like they're not egress already. I think the one that we were looking at, Mark, earlier today was the one on the right side, the bottom right bedroom window, which is like 42 inches by like 30 inches, which is more than enough right there. It already says new egress window anyways, right? So that one is going to work. The other ones, depending on how big they are, they can be the existing windows that can be used as egress windows,
okay.
right? Some cities, and just this is just keeping in mind, and this is what I think Lisa, the other designer, was assuming too, was some cities will accept one egress window. Some cities will want all the bedrooms to be egress. The minimum you'll need is one egress window, but we typically try to make all the windows egress because the windows are going to have to be big enough for natural light requirements. We might as well make them egress anyways, just
Okay.
not to take any chances, right? But just to sum up, it's like your windows need to be big enough to meet the egress and the natural light requirements. Just for peace of mind, I would just have the designer who did these drawings kind of label how much glass area the windows that she's proposing is going to have versus the bedroom areas. So you'll see like she'll label the bedrooms as like 10 by 7 or 9 by 8. I usually go with area just because the building code is by area, right? We want to make sure we're meeting those targets.
Mm-hmm.
And as making sure because they work in tandem together. The bedroom area and the window area work together. So if your bedroom's like, for example, 100 square feet, building code says 2.5% of that has to be the minimum window. That's where we need to provide the minimum window area. That being said, the egress minimum is about 3.8 square feet. I know I'm going a little technical here, right? But it's just trying to educate you a little bit more on like there's a reason why things happen for a reason for the layouts, right? It's just hard for Mark and I to kind of determine the bedroom area and the window area without her showing it, right?
Okay.
right? But to us right now, it seems like it's big enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the other, I guess, item that we had was the ceiling heights, right, Henry? About the ducts he was
Yeah,
asking.
yeah. So we checked the ceiling height there. Majority of the ceiling height is fine, but you'll see that she's noted what was it, 6'3" under the bulkheads. So
Yeah,
you'll
right
see
here.
like 6, 7 feet all around, and then you see the bulkheads like 6'3". Now in some cities they will accept 6'1" under the bulkheads. Some cities do not. I have to recall my last contact with city. This was Ottawa, right? So I don't believe they would take 6'1". You might want to double check with the designer in that area. But
Okay.
if they don't accept the 6'3", because minimum is 6'5", right? If they don't accept that, there's other ways to go around that. Either you dig down to meet the 6'5" requirement, or you reduce the bulkhead. I'm pretty sure those are like the ductworks in that area. So you can reduce that from a normal 8-inch to 6-inch, 4-inch ductwork to meet that code requirement. I know one of my other designers in the Toronto area had some similar situation. I told him he's got options there, but what's the most budget friendly option?
Mm.
Number one thing is contact the city to make sure they give you something in writing to say that 6'1" is okay under the bulkheads, and if so, perfect. You don't have to do anything. If they
Okay.
don't allow that, then you can take it to the next step and look to reduce the bulkhead in those areas.
Okay.
You would just need to consult with HVAC engineer to
Okay.
see what the proper size would be. Right, you're changing the entire the ductwork from like a normal 8-inch ductwork into like 6 inches. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but they still have to run their numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Right.
so. I don't know if you can
Yeah, but
see on. I drew a little here. I'll zoom in on it. So for the duct work, so if this yellow square is your current duct,
Mm-hmm.
right? What you can do, so it has to do with volume of air, like how much volume of air is being pushed through the ductwork. So if you take an inch off of the bottom, like if you take this inch off, right, you have to
Mm-hmm.
add all of this square footage back. So usually the duct will just go wider. So you can do that,
Uh,
right? You just gotta confirm just with like a with the mechanical guys. But you can move
okay.
so that way you can shorten your the height but widen, right? Like the area. So
Okay.
you just kind of like you're stretching it out. So you're still maintaining the same air flow and air movement that's required.
Okay.
So that's one. And I'm gonna send you a summary of all of this. Well, I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
sent you the notes, but at least now you kind of we're walking through all of the notes, so that
Yeah.
you can get well, our kind of thoughts, right? You can kind of decide whatever it is that you choose to do. This is just our opinion and our thoughts, just based on our experience.
Mm-hmm.
The wall. Okay, so another thing you asked is if we could build a wall here,
Mm-hmm.
just over here by the kitchen area. I'll mark it in purple for those following along. So you wanted to put a wall here, and then you wanted to eventually add a sliding door so you could convert this into a bedroom.
Yeah.
So legally, you wouldn't be able to do that. You could put in a wall, but then you have to leave. I think Henry said it was 60% of this gap open, so you can only
Yeah.
come with the wall 40%. Uh,
Okay.
but if you wanted to do it after you've done the permits and closed everything, like whatever you do afterwards is kind of like on you. But you could just build the wall once you've passed everything. Right? Like
Okay.
once you have your building inspection passed, you can put a wall here and then add a door,
Okay.
and then you could turn this into a closet,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
But
Sure.
I wouldn't do it beforehand.
Okay. I know that. Yeah.
Okay, so those were some of the things that we looked at. The other thing is I look at, like what is this house gonna look like? I don't see. I think I don't see on the upstairs. Like, is there a front bedroom closet? Like a front entrance closet? There isn't, right? No.
Like like at the entrance, there is a closet.
But for these guys, for the unit in the basement, there's no closet.
No, no.
So we looked at it and then we figured if you made your mechanical room smaller,
Okay.
right? Like you add a wall here, for example, and you could put a door as long as you have like your fire rated door somewhere along, like on the purple
Yeah.
wall here.
Yeah.
Then now you have all of this space to play with,
Okay.
and you could turn this laundry space right here into a
Okay.
closet for the new
Okay.
tenants. And then
Okay.
now you have all of this kind of opened up. If you wanted to keep the panels separate, you could, right? You could just like kind of close it in like that, and then all of this is open, and then in here you could put your washer dryer. But if you don't
Okay.
mind them having access to the panels, then you could just do like side by side washing laundry here too. Right, so you could
Okay.
create a laundry room instead of, right, like if you split the mechanical room in half, you can have a laundry room and
Mm-hmm.
you could have a closet.
Okay.
Right, like that's kind of like my initial thought to kind of give a little more space and more purpose for the room instead of having a giant mechanical room that these people
Yeah.
can't take advantage of, right? Especially if,
Yeah.
potentially you're trying to turn this into a 4 bedroom, then it's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
lot of space that, you might want some extra storage for these guys.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we were talking, I know you were mentioning about trying to remove this closet
Mm-hmm.
down here, which I'll label in blue. This closet we were looking to remove because it's interfering with the other bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're just trying to give more room to the bedrooms, right? Basically.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We were kind of like debating, going over different layouts. So what we thought to achieve this would have been if on the, whatever, I'll do it in pink. If you did a diagonal wall here, I think, is that
Mm-hmm.
what we ended up doing? Diagonal? Yeah, diagonal wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we did a diagonal wall here and you created an entrance, like I know this is gonna add a little, like you just have to add a lintel and cut this piece out to
Okay.
give access to this bedroom, and then you could open this up, and then you would have
Okay.
your doorway like this,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you would carry this wall down here like this, and then you could do uh, a closet for the one side and a closet for the other side.
Okay.
And then I would stop it maybe like a foot away from the window, so there
Mm-hmm.
would be a gap, right? But now you have, this guy has way more room because you're gonna get rid of this,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now they have a big square, which is nice, right, to set up a bedroom. And
Yeah.
then this
Yeah.
guy would gain all of this hallway space
Mm-hmm.
back, right? Because you're gonna
Okay.
eliminate this here.
Okay. Yeah. Um, to cut the wall, I think, is that okay? Because they told it's a weight bearing one.
Yeah, it's a load bearing wall, so I mean, if you're gonna cut in, you have to cut into the window, right?
Which one?
The bottom, like the bottom window, or all these existing. Weren't they gonna make one bigger?
I think the middle window in the middle bedroom.
This one here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you're gonna have to get one of the windows made bigger, then you're gonna have to involve a structural engineer anyways. And cutting into a window or cutting into the wall here
Oh,
is gonna be very similar. Like you're kind of almost paying for that fee already. But I would just
okay.
weigh it out. It was just an option. Like that was kind of like the best suggestion that we had
Okay.
to kind of give more room. Like this is a pretty big room, how it's set up, right? Like you could
Mm-hmm.
make this closet smaller.
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you take away this guy's closet, it's gonna be he's already got a small room, right? Like
Mm,
he's long, but it's not wide.
yeah.
Like a bed is gonna be, I think like 6 feet. So you're gonna be close to like the bed's gonna be something like this,
Yeah.
right? Maybe even longer. So there's not
Mm,
like a ton of room in this bedroom.
yeah.
But if we can move this wall, right, like take advantage of all of this space,
Yeah.
now he could probably fit a nice dresser here, right? And he still has a
Mm,
closet with our design,
yeah.
and it's better. And then this guy has the same thing, right? He's got like a big space. He can put a bed here. They could put a
Mm,
dresser in front, right? Like you can kind of like set up more furniture,
mm,
especially since we're gonna cut into the living space. If you put this wall and turn this into a bedroom,
okay.
right? They're not gonna really have a living room.
Okay. Um.
Right? Because we're three people hanging out now, right? Like if you turn this into a
Mm,
bedroom, you kind of make it difficult.
mm,
But
yeah.
you just it'll just but that those types of tenants, if you get students or maybe single people, right? Like they won't mind just kind of like living out of their bedroom.
Yeah.
But it's just so then if you're gonna remove the living room, then you want to maximize the bedroom spaces, right? For these
Mm, yeah.
future tenants.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I'll check with the structural engineer too. Like.
Yeah, and that was basically the key thing that we kind of came up with our initial setup here for your
Mm,
design from the off of their initial design. It was just like a different, we just kind of try to give it a different look instead of,
yeah.
you know, critiquing the exact same thing that they had so that you got the best layout. I mean, well, now you have a choice, right, of what it is that you
Yeah.
want to work with.
Yeah.
Did you have any questions or feedback on this?
Um. Yeah, I like the way that, because even I thought like bedrooms are smaller. Um, but I was not aware that they can cut the structure, like, because it's load bearing. So
Yeah, no, you can cut it. You
what
just gotta put some posts, like
if
it's probably gonna be an angle iron, like a metal. They're gonna make you
mm-hmm.
put like an L-shaped piece of metal on this side and then one on this side over top of the doorway because it's block,
Okay.
right? It's block construction already.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing that Henry was gonna look up, but we were talking about it too. If you can avoid putting, um, you know, 2x4s along this wall. Like right now, she looks like she has 2x4 and then drywall.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is block construction, you could just laminate the wall with 5/8 drywall.
Okay.
So you'll save like 4 inches on either side.
Okay. Okay. Around the structure wall,
Just
right?
yeah, just this interior wall.
Okay. Mm,
Or instead
okay.
of doing 2x4, she could do like 2x2s or something like that, right? Like you don't have to go as wide for these things here.
Okay.
Right, to kind of help maximize. I mean, it's 4 inches. The space is pretty good. The only issue with this is just kind of this wall in the middle. That's a pain in the butt
Yeah.
because you're really
Yeah.
having to separate everything.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, I think that's the best use that we think. And then like, yeah, if you can cut, if it makes sense, like financially to cut this opening here, then this room
Mm-hmm.
is gonna get the middle room will get a much better layout. Right? Because
Okay.
right now the middle room is the only one that's really tight from the layout that she proposed. Only this section
Yeah.
here is it's this is a really small room.
Yeah. So what's the other option, like if the duct, instead of reducing the size, like do we have any other option for the height under the duct?
The height under the duct? Yeah, you gotta
Mm.
kind of come up with how the height of under the duct is you're gonna have to make the ducts longer,
Okay.
right? You're gonna have to
Because
increase the width.
what I saw with my ducks were like usually they're little thinner than what I've seen in other basements. So maybe they're already, maybe I'll send you. They're like little thinner already.
N- like I've done even like 4 inch ducts. Like you can go
Oh,
really thin.
okay.
See, like this is like 2 inch,
Okay.
right? So for every inch you go down, so let's say it's 6 inches wide, for example, the duct,
Mm-hmm.
6 inches
Mm-hmm.
wide by 8 inches tall, right? So you can take away an inch up, but then you got to go wide an inch. So for every inch you take away height wise, you got to add an inch outward,
Okay.
right? So if your ducts are like 10 inches wide and you want to take 2 inches, well, now your ducts are going to be 1 foot wide because you have to add 2 inches,
Okay.
right? But you get the height, which is what you need in order to,
Mm.
meet building code. But Henry's going to double check if you are allowed to get away with 6.1, then you'll be fine. You won't need to make any changes.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I mean that's I kind of like the setup you have. The other option, I don't know how old your furnace is. You could also do mini splits, right? That tends to be another popular idea. If you switch to the mini split system, right? You'd have to put some
Okay.
upstairs and for downstairs, but you could completely get rid of all of your ductwork.
Okay.
But
So
that's
they are kind of like a furnace or
yeah, you can get rid of the furnace. Instead of a furnace, it's a mini split. Here, I'll just Google it.
mm,
So yeah, they're like this. So it's like you have yeah, this is probably a good photo here. You have a like kind of like an air conditioning type box that you see outside, and then on the
okay.
inside you have these little fans. You can see my screen, right?
No, I think it's paused.
Oh, sorry. Let me share my screen. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh,
So this is a mini split system. So it's a ductless system, right? So it mounts
oh,
to the exterior of the wall, and this here heats and cools.
okay.
Now you do need to put one in every room for the most part, right? But you could
Oh,
put two systems, right? And a lot of the ducting can happen from the outside. Like here's a good example of how this thing works,
oh, okay.
right? So you would just have to, set up the piping, and then you have one inside the unit, right, per room,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then this allows you to get rid of all of the ducts inside of your house, right, including the one in the basement, which means you'll have full height in the basement. You can actually recover the mechanical space as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just share,
Oh, okay.
let me share back the. Where are we here? There we go. So your furnace room, you can see the design, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could get rid of all of this, right? Like all of this would go. The only thing you would keep would be
Oh,
your hot water tank,
okay.
right? So, now your furnace room is tiny, and now this whole area, everything mechanical except for this little circle, right where the hot water tank is, could be completely
Mm-hmm.
open.
Okay. So when we choose these, like we don't put any in the hallway or the living rooms.
No, it's just in the main living areas. So
Oh,
in the living room, in one in each bedroom, And then in the bathroom, you would put rads, like a electric baseboard.
Okay.
You wouldn't put a mini split in there. And then it just basically sucks cold air from outside and brings it inside, or it takes cold air from inside and brings it outside. It just switches the air,
Mm-hmm.
and it's energy efficient. The other nice thing too is if you have separate electrical meters, it runs on
Mm-hmm.
electricity. It doesn't run on natural gas.
Okay.
So it will you will be able to put the bill on the tenants, right? So the hotter they
Oh,
run their units, they're paying for the electrical. You could split the electrical, right? And the only
okay.
common use would be hot water.
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
So there's some advantages and disadvantages, um, but but it would vary. Okay, so we got some questions here. Okay, taking it to the top. Is it worth replacing the traditional hot water rental with a tankless hot water tank to save space from breathe? Yes and no. I find here, I'm just gonna stop sharing my screen and just go to us. I find, now this is just my opinion, right? Like we all got opinions. This is just my experience, my opinions. Yes, you could save a ton of space by switching from hot water to tankless. Some of the downfalls to that are though, is that tankless water heaters never run out of hot water. So I have a teenager, and when he showers, he will shower basically forever because he's used to showering when the hot water runs out and it starts to get cold. That's when he's like, all right, time to finish my shower. That's I'm done. I'm done at that point, right? So if you have a tenant that maybe perhaps wants to abuse the water or maybe is into really long showers like my teenage son, you might run into that issue. But on the flip side, if you have a lot of people living in the household, there's always going to be a consistent flow of hot water, right? So 3 people,
Mm.
4 people could shower all together. So it's kind of like, it's a bit of a balancing act what you get for either of those. Um, I'm not too sure. Oh, is it worth replacing? Oh, Manny answered too, depending on the space. It can be advantageous. Yeah, like if you're gonna gain a lot of space for it, maybe add another bedroom. It might be worth getting rid of the hot water tank. So mini split systems will work. So you need a condenser. So the condensers on the mini split, like that AC kind of looking machine that's on the outside. For each one of those, it will control a certain amount of heads. Like you can go up to 5 heads, and it'll manage a lot of the heads. This is for Cindy who asked that question. So each condenser can either heat or cool. It can't do both. So I've seen some customers that bought bigger condensing units, so it would have like 6 heads on it, 7 heads on it, to heat and cool multiple units. But when you get into this temperature, like we are right now, where it's like sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold, if one person's trying to ask for heat and another person's trying to ask for cool, one person is going to get an error, right? Like the machine's either heating or it's cooling. It can only bring hot air inside or hot air outside. It can only do one function, so it can't do both. So it's better to have a condensing unit for like the upstairs unit per unit, right? So like the upstairs tenant would have its own heating and cooling, and then the main floor tenant would have a heating and cooling. So you could separate them so you can have more flexibility on them. Um, would it be more expensive? Okay, Sri, who's new to Discord, guys, welcome, Sri. Would it be more expensive to use mini splits compared to a traditional furnace? I believe mini splits are less expensive than furnaces. They're higher efficiency. Um, there's a whole carbon footprint thing. But the biggest thing for them is that they're super efficient though. They're in the 95, 98% efficiencies, but they don't you can't it's harder to split natural gas in like a duplex conversion. So for tenants to split the heating and the cooling, you can't really split that. You as the homeowner are going to be stuck with the bill. But if you have a mini split, it's a lot easier to separate that between the two people. You know what? I'm gonna bring Darren up here because Darren is also another one of I remember. I don't know if he's here. I'm trying to bring him up. He's another guy doing the exact same thing you're doing as well. Hey, Darren. Oh, here, not here. I don't know. Okay, and then I guess not because we can control each mini split and we can't say about them all in there. So mini splits, hey Darren. So mini splits are good though. Like the other nice thing about mini splits is because you have multiple heads per room, they're way more like temperature efficient. Like everybody's basement is usually cooler than their upstairs, right? The upstairs is always hotter. So you could lower the temperature upstairs and manage the temperature on all of the floors, all of the rooms. You know, if the sun hits the west side of your building or your unit, you can turn those ones on to, right? So you can balance your temperature way better than you can with the furnace. The furnace is going to blow the air all from one central location and blow it throughout the whole house. And you know, if you can do some balancing with the venting, but the furnace is either on full heat and then it's off, right? Where the mini splits will be on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off really quickly. They don't have to blow through the whole house, right? Because the temperature gets right to the room because the mini splits are right on the room. Yeah, Darren, I didn't know if you had any questions because I know you're just starting your framing, so you're a little bit ahead. And you know, I figured I'd bring you on here to see if you had any questions or I don't know, feedback, I guess, experiences, right? Because HEMA's just kind of starting the process you were at like a month ago.
I think we cannot hear.
Yeah, I can't hear him either. I think he's
Yeah,
muted.
trying to speak something.
Yeah, I think it says you're muted. Maybe just quit and come back, Darren. That's what I found sometimes works. But yeah, so he's further ahead. So we got his drawings. We just got him his permits. He's out in Oshawa.
Mm-hmm.
So he works with us. So he does kind of consult during the day. Like we chat quickly. But oh, there we go. We can hear him. But yeah, I'm not physically there on site all the time. So he's running videos and asking me questions during the evenings, and we're kind of collaborating back and forth. Okay. Darren, say something. No,
Nothing.
your internet sucks. Maybe turn off your video.
Yeah, he's driving. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
try
the
now.
turn off the video actually helps out. Yeah, there we go. I think so. The
No,
struggles.
we can't hear you. Darren, you're going
That's
back
fine.
to you're going back to the audience, bro. Fired. Dismissed. Oh, I moved the wrong person. Okay. Anything else? Okay, so how much does it cost to get a mini split system? Okay, so mini split systems, it's kind of like what does it cost to get a furnace? It just depends on the BTUs, right? Like you still need to provide a certain amount of heat for the house, Cindy. So depending on the size of the system, it will go up, and the number of heads. The more heads, the more cost. So the range is like really big. They're a little bit more expensive than a furnace, but if you're starting from like scratch or fresh, they're cheaper because furnace requires ducting, and then these systems don't. Right? You can just quickly add these systems in. They're a lot simpler. It works really well when we're doing like triplex conversions, and you have a basement unit, main floor unit, and then you want to add an attic or an upper top level unit. You can just add the mini split to that. and it allows very easily. It allows to add it very, very simple, easy, and it doesn't complicate the wheel. Where adding ducts to into the attic or to like create a third unit upstairs can become complicated.
Yeah.
Okay, so Breathe also mentioned here the downside for these systems is that open concept floor will either need more heads or heat won't be consistent throughout. No, so each head, Breathe, has a BTU output. So you have like 9,000 BTU heads, 12,000 BTU heads, 24,000 BTU heads. So you would have a bigger head for a larger size room. So they actually are really, really well balanced systems. As long as you have the right calculation, obviously, for the room space. Hima, any other questions?
How do we know the size? Like, what's required for each room? Like, does it depend on the size or?
Yeah, there's so usually just like you would just get like usually the HVAC technician or a mechanical engineer will do a calculation for you.
Okay.
Right? There's a calculation that they use. They'll look at the space, the width. It's called a heat loss calculation, and it'll tell you like how much heat is being lost every hour on your house, and then they have to supplement that heat based on math.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, wow. He's here.
I mean, hello?
Yeah. Was it because you're attached to your car system and it wouldn't connect?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I had to turn on the voice settings. I had to turn off auto sensitivity and then boost my output. Am I clear or am I distorted?
A little distorted.
Okay. I had a question and then I forgot it because I'm focusing on the road here. But I actually just got my heat pump installed yesterday for my basement rental.
Yeah.
And we opted, instead of going mini split, the reason I opted for the heat pump was I had also applied for grants, and that was one of the big purchases to make my house greener. So with the one heat pump unit on the outside, instead of it having the multiple heads inside, we're actually running it in conjunction with our furnace. So it's using the existing ducts that go in the basement and the upstairs unit. And there's pros and cons of this. So the one pro is that the type of heat pump I went for was air source heat pump. So it's a cheaper upfront cost. However, it doesn't really perform as well in like the cold, extreme cold weather. So by having it in conjunction with the furnace, it'll run for a majority of the year. But then on those days when it gets really cold, my furnace will automatically kick on because the thermostat will see that the heat pump can't keep up and it'll fire up the furnace. So I guess like 80–90% of the year will be.
Yeah. That's it's true. There are different heat pumps and stuff like that. And the only reason we're recommending potentially looking at the heat pump is because of the height issue that we might run into, right? Yeah, Hema, you should message Darren, or maybe Darren you guys can create a channel or whatever, but he just recently did this, so there are some energy rebate stuff for like homeowners. So you may be able to take advantage of some of those rebates, right? Like, I mean, if you can get some money back, better than no money back.
I've seen the city. I think the government has put that on hold. Like when I was trying to upgrade, like maybe in February, maybe it has resumed again. So I'll check with Enercare again.
Yeah, no, I know they paused the loans,
Mm.
but I believe the energy rebates were still in effect. But I could be wrong. I don't I'm not really up on the pulse of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
I'll check.
but yeah, just something obviously, if you can take advantage of it, why not?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's all I had for today. I think like big check-in. I think maybe next Tuesday, like you're starting to get some quotes now too, right, Hima? I saw the one for the windows.
I got one, two for general contractor.
Okay.
Um, they they didn't send me the PDF yet, but I've shared the plans and I've seen a couple of days back. So once whatever codes I've received, like I'll share in the channel. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Yeah, and then what we'll do is maybe what we'll do is we'll get an update from Darren if he's available on Tuesdays, any Tuesday that he's available, and then
Mhm.
we'll touch base on your stuff as well. So then
Mhm.
we can kind of like everybody can get some value out of the Reno stuff that we're gonna be chatting, right? Every Tuesday. You get the help. It helps everybody else as well. And then Darren, who's a little bit ahead of you, may be able to reflect on some of the stuff as he's doing it.
Mhm.
And then obviously we can continue to help him too with the stuff that he's going through as well.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, if there's no more questions, I keep forgetting to change the time. I'm gonna be starting around 8 on Tuesdays. It's just hectic
Mm.
with like putting the kids to bed and trying to run and set up my computer and everything like that. So, 8 works best for me. So hopefully you guys can continue to join. But we record every episode. It's on our Grow Discord YouTube channel, and we have an event coming up. If you haven't got your tickets, it's next Thursday, the 25th. It's 2 for 15 right now. Oh no, 2 for 30. Tickets are 2 for 30. It's a Kitchener meetup. I will probably be doing some speaking there as well, and should be a good time. It's always a good time. I'll wear my taco hat. All right, guys. Take care. Have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you so much.
No problem
Thanks, Mark,
anytime.
and thank you so much.